Hi guys, so this is going to be a short taster video in which I'll be walking you through the role of a web producer in a tech team. If you are watching this, you are probably one of those who have come across our adverts which were rolled out a few days ago. Yes, my friends and I who have years of experience within the tech space will be teaching some courses which have already been announced, you see, these guys I'm working with are very knowledgeable and they are very good at what they do. They know their onions, and we've all agreed, we've all decided that we are going to teach exactly what people need to hit the ground running. So we are not interested in wasting time, no time for jargons, no time for overly academic exaggerations. So we teach you exactly what you need to start in the roles, okay? And all you need is those things, the knowledge that will equip you to hit the ground running in any of these roles. Otherwise, there is no point teaching, really. You could just go online on YouTube and learn. But here we are. We've come together, put together curriculums to help you hit the ground running. And this is exactly our plans. And this, we believe, will help a lot of people. So once again, if you or your friends are interested in participating in taking some of the courses, just fill the form below or you email enroll@livicode.com and we'll get back to you in the next few days. All right? Okay, cool. Without further ado, let's just get started. So once again, I'll be walking you through the role of a web producer and how you can become a web producer if you are interested. Now, here is a table of contents containing what we'll be talking about here. So firstly, if you want to learn about this role, you need to know what a content management system is. From this point on, I'll be calling it CMS. Just know that every time I mention CMS, I'm talking about content management system. So why CMS? Why learn any at all? Who is a web producer in a software development lifecycle tech team? Web producer job titles. I mean, basically this is because in the job market, the same role can be given like many names. So I'll walk you through some of these job titles. And also we're going to have a really quick demo today. And lastly, if we have time, we might talk about designing your CV and so on. Let's get started. What is a content management system? What is a CMS? A CMS is a software that helps users to create, manage, and modify content on a website without the need for specialized technical knowledge. So the way they used to do things in the olden days would be, say a company needs a website, and then they get a website, they create their pages, all very static HTML pages. They've got a home page, they've got a about us page, they've got a page in which they've enlisted some of their products. Now for every change they need to make to the website, they have to go to the server. So definitely it has to be a technical person who can make the change. The technical person, maybe a front-end developer, a back-end developer, full stack, whatsoever, some webmaster, will have to go to the server to make all of these edits, make the changes, publish it to live. Now, a lot of businesses over the years have learned that this is in fact really dangerous for the business, for business continuity, because what happens if the technical guy is not able to make it to work on that very day? What happens if there is no technical person at all around, within the business for the whole week or for the whole month? So this will create a lot of panic attacks of business owners. So we have this thing called CMS, Content Management System, which doesn't require some crazy technical knowledge to operate. So you just need to be trained, so you know where different things are, how to manage different pages, and how to create new pages, and how to publish pages, and so on. So if you've got like a bank, for example, each page that you come across on any bank website, for example, on Barclays website, has been created by some CMS producer, someone who has been trained on how to create all of these pages and add all of the contents to the pages. You see what I mean? Some CMS are really powerful that you can even use them to manage like the search engine optimization feature of your website. You can use it even to like store some assets. You use it to store images, store videos. You use it for a lot of things really. These days CMSs have actually evolved. You use CMS to modify content, measure web performance with integration of some analytics tool. This is a diagram just showing you what a typical CMS looks like. So basically you've got your web server hosting your CMS, hosting your website, right? So when we say hosting your website, it basically means you have stored all of your website files within this web server. Now you've got your database, because a lot of times you have to deal with dynamic data. You have to deal with information changing every now and then on the website. You definitely need a database to hold your data in a sensible format. Now on top of that, you've got the backend user interface, what we might as well call the administrator dashboard of the website, in which you manage a lot of things. For example, like backend is where you give permission to certain users. You might give like editing right to certain users, but certain users you just give them viewing rights and so on. All right. So and also on the backend is where you actually create the contents and you manage the contents that we're talking about. Okay, and so you've got the code plugins as well, and these are different plugins or different extensions that have been integrated into the CMS to help to boost the functionality of the CMS itself. And then you've got the front end templates and CSS. Basically this will be responsible for rendering the user interface of your website, and then so you've got that responsive user interface rendered and then sent out to different browsers. So the content is managed here on the back end, all right, and that's actually where your role comes in. So all of these other bits, all of these other parts, they'll be managed by different people within the team, within the tech team. So you've got the back-end developer developing this, but the back-end developer and as well a front-end developer can help with creating the user interface, back-end dashboard. Here you've got like a backend developer developing all of the plugins and so on, and also here you've got front-end developers creating those. You might be working with a database administrator who knows how to plug your application to the database. Then you've got a web server. Okay, all of this might be managed by maybe some DevOps person within the team, or even the backend guys who know about the web server and how different things work. So basically this is just a typical layout of a CMS. Now once again, I've added this image here just showing a summary of what we've talked about so far, to say that a CMS is a tool, is a software that you use to manage your website. You can as well use it for search engine optimization purpose. You use it to modify content. You can use it to measure the performance of your website. That's talking in terms of analytics, for example. Okay, so let's go to the next chapter, which is why content management system. What is the purpose of this content management system for any business? So without a CMS, just as I mentioned earlier on, a developer or technical expert will be required to make changes, content changes all the time. You can imagine a old big company like Tesla wanting to make a content change on the website, and that day there is no technical person in-house who could actually go to the server to make the content changes. This is why the role of a web producer is very important. They need you to come into the business to help them manage the website. You create the pages, you create the assets, you put everything together. You are indeed one of the most important personnels within the tech team in any business at all. So again, let's go to the next point. It can be a little bit tedious optimizing website for search engine bots like Google bots to crawl. Yeah, so nowadays we've got, like I mentioned earlier, we've got everything integrated within the CMS. So you've got the CMS boosted for different purposes aside from just managing the content. So you can use your CMS nowadays to like manage SEO of your website, and also to manage the analytics of your website. So imagine big companies roll out dozens of pages every, really big companies. They need to like maybe push out different products on daily basis. Doing this manually would be very tedious. Like going to the server and now plugging different things in manually and doing all of the putting the content in manually. This is the reason why we've got a CMS. A CMS is what different businesses, different companies use to manage all of the content on their websites, and this is why it is very essential for you to actually learn it. So at this point, we are going to be exploring some popular websites just to analyze the websites and see what kind of CMS are being used on these websites. So I did a little exercise earlier in which I've used this tool called builtwith.com. So you can insert builtwith.com on your in your browser, and then you just type in bbc.co.uk, for example, and then you will see like interesting results whereby you will see different things that have been used to build a website. But most importantly to us in this exercise is to know what kind of content management system they are using. So the BBC is using this Noxio CMS. I also did the same thing for Daily Mail UK earlier and found Contentful CMS, Salesforce. Some of them are using WordPress. Some of them are using Adobe AEM. Actually, as a matter of fact, I realized that a lot of banks and other bigger businesses are using Adobe AEM CMS on their websites. This is why for our lab today, I've decided to use Adobe AEM. So we'll get to that point, no worries. All right, so I've just opened builtwith.com, this very amazing tool in my browser, and I'm just going to analyze one of the websites. I think I'm going to use metro.co.uk, and then you will see what I mean. All right, so if you can see my screen here, you see this is telling you different technologies that they're using on their websites. Analytics, for analytics and tracking, look at all of the tools they're using, and then you go all the way down. They've got some widgets there. We're not interested in all of these ones today. What we're interested in should be somewhere down here. So on scrolling down all the way to content management system, you know, at this point, this is telling you what kind of CMS they are using. It's telling you they are using WordPress for metro.co.uk. You can see there. They are running on WordPress 6.0. Now, like I mentioned before, this is a very powerful tool, builtwith.com. So it helps you to know what kind of CMS a business is running on, a website is running on. And if you are interested in working for a particular company, for example, all you need to do is maybe guys on builtwith.com, and then you know the kind of CMS they're using. You can then go learn the basics, or about the CMS itself, and then you apply to the company. You tell them that, hey, I know how to use your CMS. I can help you operate your website. I can help you manage your website. I can help you do everything you need to do on your website. And that's a clue for you to take away from here. Okay, let's go to the next session. So why learn CMS? Why learn a content management system? I think you should at least know two CMSs, know how to use two content management systems. Having said that, it will thrill you to know that nowadays it's trendy and common to build a career around a CMS. Well, as CRMs like Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics. I will explain that in details later on, okay? And also it will give you an edge. It gives you an edge on the job market competition. You get an edge if a company knows that you know how to use their CMS. They will definitely go for you. I mean, that's fact alone, that point alone stands you out of the crowd. You get what I mean? A web producer role may be your stepping stone into tech career. I mean, I have met people who have who told me that they've done several trainings areas of tech, yet they are struggling to like land a job. I tell you, this is one thing you need to add to your CV. If you can master at least two content management systems, that's going to give you an edge in the job market. And when you come in as a web producer, you do that for maybe a year or some months, depending on your plan. I don't know what your plan is, and from there you can just move on to whatever you want to do next. It might be cybersecurity, it might be development or QA or anything at all, but this will serve as a stepping stone for you into other careers within the tech space. And furthermore, in addition to what we've mentioned before, you should learn a CMS because it serves as one-stop resource for several features relating to online presence. Yeah, for that, nowadays we have CMS, your website analytics that you can use to manage your website's search engine optimization. You can use to manage user access, to manage a lot of things. It's like a one-stop resource center for everything around your business website. So the CMS has security features and extensions and plugins. It's customizable to meet your precise business needs. So once you've learned the basics of any CMS at all, I tell you, it is then easy. It becomes easier for you to then begin to learn a little bit more about other features around this CMS. In fact, it's even going to help you to learn as many CMSs as possible you come across in your career in future. And also here I mentioned that CMS is customizable to meet your precise business needs. It's easy to optimize website for SEO. I've mentioned that before. This is a very important point here. Easily integrates with other business applications. This is a content management system that we're talking about. They've got all kinds of integrations with other systems within the business, so they are extensible. They can easily adapt to integrations of other systems. So this is very interesting. I told you earlier about around here saying that nowadays it's trendy and common to build a career around a CMS. Traditionally or typically, you have someone who calls themselves maybe like a CRM administrator or CMS administrator, but nowadays you can master just the use of just one particular CRM or just one particular CMS, and that will be what you actually build your career around forever or not. For example, you could be a Salesforce administrator, you can be a WordPress administrator, you can be a Sitecore administrator, any of all of these CMSs. Just master one CMS and then you build your career around that. Okay. And also here, we've got we've got developers just introduce themselves as software developer. Basically they just work on any software at all. However, these days it is enough for you to just be a developer, specializing in just one particular CMS. So you can be a Sitecore developer. And again, learning CMS is not limited to anyone at all. Anybody can learn this CMS, and then you just build your career around it, or you use it as a stepping stone into other careers. So nowadays we have Sitecore developer, you have Drupal developer, you have Joomla developer, and so on. So previously, typically you would have a business analyst. Nowadays you've got titles like Adobe AEM business analyst. Typically we used to have maybe QA tester. Now you have Magento QA tester, you have Salesforce QA tester, and so on. Some cases you probably have maybe like website support, as a role. Nowadays you can find in the job market Kentico support or Umbraco data analyst, as compared to what we used to have before, data analyst, and so on. So you can just learn a particular content management system and then build your whole career around it. And this is what we are talking about here. And this is what I have seen in many years working as a developer. All of this, I have come across these trends, and I have actually mentored people, to learn different CMS and then specialize in any of the CMSs that they actually love to learn. This is the new trend now, and nobody will tell you out there, but if you know people who are actually in the system and who are up to date with the trends, they will advise you. They will tell you it's best to go and learn a CMS and then you build your career around it, or you learn a CRM. Just learn a software and then you build your career around it. You know how much people are earning in the market today just for being like maybe a Salesforce administrator or some Umbraco data analysts. People are earning big, and this is your chance to actually join the train. This is your chance to actually come on board and join the train. Okay, now this brings us to the next chapter, where we'll be discussing in detail who a web producer is. Of course, I've mentioned in my previous slides, I've talked about it, but there is a slide here which I would like to use to explain the role of a CMS producer within the software development agile team. So now basically SDLC means software development lifecycle. So this basically represents the end-to-end process that a business goes through from the point of planning to the point of launching their websites, okay, or their software basically. Number one here is the planning, and you know what that means already. The planning phase is the point at which the business and the stakeholders are talking about their requirement, the need for a website, the need to have a website. Involves different parties. At this point, a web producer doesn't really need to be part of that. So, and then you move on to the analysis phase. So at this point, this second phase here, the analysis phase is where you've got people like the business analyst come in to help the business to make sense of all of their requirements. The business analyst breaks everything down for them, and then the business analyst becomes like the middle person between the business and the technical guys, that's the software developers, the QA testers, and the rest of them, and the web producer and so on. So this is, at this point, is where you're analyzing the business requirement and so on. And then the third phase is the design phase. That is the point at which the UI designers will begin to make some representation of the ideas, of what the website should look like. For example, they'll begin to to draw wireframes and to make maybe low fidelity designs or even high fidelity designs using tools like maybe Figma or Miro and so on. And also at this point, you will also involve the system architects. The system architect will also come into the picture here and so on. And then the next phase will be the implementation point. At this implementation point, this is where the software developers are developing, writing codes and everything. Then you get to the fifth phase where there is QA testing and there is integration of different modules, everything, cooking together like jollof, to become one, basically. So this is the phase in which everything comes together and begins to make sense. And at this point, the web producer is needed to begin to use the CMS that the software developers have built, and then begin to create pages and build the pages and add content to the pages, test them alongside the QA testers, how they look on mobile, how they look on your desktop, how they look on tablets, on different devices, basically. And then lastly, you've got the maintenance part. The maintenance part, is an interesting part because, again, the web producer is needed here. The web producer is the person that will be managing the website on daily basis. So you'll be adding contents to the website, you'll be creating content, you'll be upgrading be doing general maintenance of the website, as well as building new pages from different templates that the developers have actually created. So the web producer role is very, very important. You see, in the olden days, the web producer role is something that people like front-end developers and back-end developers used to do. They didn't like it at all because that's not their job. Their job, developers really want to concentrate on one thing, and that is building the software. They don't want to be the same persons that will come on board again and start to help the business to using the pages, using the user interface, the admin dashboard and everything. No, they just want to be the ones they just want to build, and that is it. The QA testers, they want to come on board and test. Everybody should have a unique role in a typical agile team. Every single person within the team has a unique role. So one person should not be taking the role of another person. You see what I mean? So now, typically, you need the web producer, in these two phases, in the fifth phase and also in the sixth phase. So they are very important. The web producer seems to be the only person, or maybe one of the few experts that span through two phases within the SDLC agile life cycle. To the next point. As a matter of fact, I think I've mentioned everything on this slide. I've talked about it already. A web producer role is one of the few tech roles that requires no coding skills. A web producer provides business as usual. We call it BAU support for the business. So you manage the website. They say, oh, something is not looking right on the website. Oh, we use a responsive image. Oh, can we actually build some new pages that we need for the business? So a CMS producer is not totally overly technical, but at the same time, you can a bit of HTML, for example, to be able to survive. In the beginning, when you just come and hit the ground running, you might not be required to use your HTML, CSS skills. And also, it depends on the kind of CMS. It depends on how robust the CMS is, or how robust the software developers have actually built the CMS. So in many cases, your basic knowledge of HTML, CSS is sufficient. You're not going to be writing JavaScript or any other crazy code. No, you just need basics. And again, just to remind you, so during our training, we'll be going through all of this basic HTML and basic CSS snippets that you might be needing on a daily basis. Okay, so the next point here is the CMS producer builds web pages and content from templates supplied by the web developers, which satisfies organizational objectives. You know what that means already. They update and maintain existing website content. You know what that means. They ensure that the website content is meeting user needs by putting the user at the heart of content. Yes, the content writers, the copywriters, they write the copies. Okay, then they pass the copies over to the web producer, to the CMS producer. CMS producer is the person that then determines what kind of templates we're going to use to produce the web page. Because the way your About Us page looks is not the way that your product page is going to look, you know. So when we are saying templates, we just means that the layout that differentiates one page from another. It is the job of the web producer to determine what kind of layout to use, what kind of layout template to use to build certain pages. So all my years of working as software developer and also taking up different other roles, I've been opportuned to actually mentor as producers that I've worked with, you know, within different teams. To help. This is why I believe that you are going to enjoy this course very much, because I'm bringing lots of experience very much I've done who have now become like CMS experts basically. Let's go to the next slide. So now on to the next one, job titles, CMS experts. Now what is it that we're going to be talking about here? So basically what we're talking about here is different titles, different names that are synonymous to CMS producer. So it depends on the company you work for. If you work for a certain company, they might be calling that same role a CMS or website executive. You work somewhere else, they might call that same role a website or CMS coordinator. You work somewhere else, they might call it a CMS editor or a web editor or certain CMS. You know, this one here, I just mean, for example, they might call it like a WordPress editor, or they might call it an Umbraco editor, or they might call it an AEM editor, or they might call it anything at all, Drupal editor, or a web content manager, CMS specialist or CMS manager, content editor, web publisher, technical publisher, you know, all of these names, all for one role. Can you imagine? This is how important this role is in the job market. Do a very quick exploration. Let's check online to see some of these roles and actually maybe how they intend to pay them in the market, to put perspective all the puzzles together from this point. So maybe we should just start with which of them? It can be like web to jobs, for example. Let's look here. Look at that. So this, for example, is gonna go for like 40K maximum, okay? And if you look at the job description, it's basically everything we've been talking about: experience of web content editing, team player, knowledge of SEO and HTML, and so on. But you know, another thing you need to bear in mind is that all you need is like the basics, the basic knowledge of how this CMS works. You know, anyone you're going for at all. Again, like I've mentioned previously, we've got all kinds of CMSs out there, but whichever one you're going to master, you need to know it, because this is what is going to help you in the market. However, when you come into the job, in some cases you might be trained. You know, they might train you all over again to say, okay, of course you are the outstanding candidates, we've employed you, now you're an employee, but hey, we would like to train you on how to use this CMS again, just because different organizations use the CMSs differently. Okay, all right. Look here, for example, you've got some university looking for a web editor, and you know they're gonna be paying you a starting salary of up to 40K. I'm telling you, this is a really good salary for anyone who has been, for example, maybe in like the UK job market, for example. Look at this one. For this one is the British Museum is looking for someone to come in, a junior. You know, this is the kind of role that anybody at all who just wants to like step into the tech world, you know, can take up. It can be someone maybe just graduating from the university. You just want to take up, you know, MS role, serve as a stepping stone for you to find your way around the tech niche. This is a really good one for you. You've got all kinds. You see, this one is even paying up to 45K. Come on, man. This is a really good job. You see, this is a really good job. This is what we've been talking about. Again, the kind of training that we're planning to give you is one that will equip you to hit the ground running and start working right away. You'll get a job, because we're going to support you as well, you know, with CV writing and everything, and all the support that you need, all the mentoring that you need, we'll provide for you any day, anytime. And this is what we're talking about. And you see how I'm talking about this thing here. It's not the first time that I'm training people, that I'm mentoring people, you know, in this niche, basically. So I know what I'm talking about. I know what I have seen, and I know how people are really doing well out there, you know, after their trainings. And if you think that I'm actually talking with passion, wait until you hear my other friends. These other guys, they know their onions. They are full of fire, and they are training you to get a job right away. They are training you to hit the ground running, to get into the job market, and then you just grab your job, and that is it. That's all you need. Talks. There's no time for all of these jargons. We're just going straight to the point. Basically, this is like the longest slide I've ever done during trainings. Usually, I do like maybe like maximum 5 pages, and then we just go to the practical stuff. But today, I just decided to do things a bit differently. Just giving you the taster. Okay. The same way you can go on here on Google and search for maybe its editor. Instead of putting a web editor here, you can put content editor job, and then you get a lot of you're not a writer, so forget about jobs like this. No, you're looking for, yeah, look at that, digital content editor. That's you there. That's it. You see, that's it. Yeah, so that's you there. You see, this one is even like a contract basically. So they want to pay you about £190 per day, and you're gonna be there for like 9 months. See, a lot of people don't know what we're talking about. You know, there are opportunities out there around content management system, opportunities out there that a lot of people are not opening their eyes to. But again, because some of us have been in the industry, basically have hacked the system. Basically, we've identified different roles you know, in which you can train, and then you just come into the job market right away. You hit the ground running. Remember this statement: you hit the ground running. So I'm giving you a take-home assignment, and it is for you to actually use some of these job titles here. Go on Google and look for jobs around them. Think about it and decide for yourself if you actually want to take this course or not, because we are starting very soon. We are starting in like maybe like 3 weeks time. We're starting to like train people, and if you want to become part of the students, then you should do this homework. Think about it, you know, explore the world of CMS producer, the world of content producer, the world of web producer, and then you decide for yourself whether you want to go homework. That's a reasonable homework. That's a reasonable thing to do, isn't it, guys? So this brings us to the last slide of the day, in which I'll be doing a quick demo of the Adobe AEM. That is Adobe Experience Manager. This is the content management system that a lot of banks use in the UK. You've seen it for yourself on my slide. You can explore it, you know, using builtwith.com. Try to analyze different websites, and I'm telling you, when you see most of those giant websites, they are using AEM and some other ones. So in our training, we're going to focus on 3 major content management systems. AEM is one of them. So if you're interested, just let me know. But for today, we're just going to explore AEM. So you can see the user interface on my screen right now, right? This is the typical user interface of Adobe Experience Manager, AEM. This administrator dashboard. Okay, now on the left hand side here, they might have all kinds of menu, even all the way down, just like storing certain resources. Okay, you have it on the left hand side here, and then you will have like different folders for different websites which you have launched in different countries. So basically, I'm going to be using like the masters one for our demo today. Say for example, you have a page on that company website. Let's call the company Jollof Limited. Okay, and okay, let's use We Retail. Okay, that's the name of the company. It's a very big global brand. Okay, they sell men's wears, and they sell ladies sports wears, and so on. Okay, now you can see on this page, for example, things here, for every single item that you see here, they have a web producer. Okay, so you select one of the items. For example, this item here has been added by a web producer. Okay, so say for example, they need to make a change on the previous page where we were. They need to make a change here, so you just need to go to that particular page we are talking about. Is the main page. Okay, so and you want to edit the main page in AEM, you just need to select that page. Okay, and then you click on edit. Just walking you through a typical thing that you'll be doing on daily basis as a web producer. So now you can see this front end basically means what users see all around the world. This is what the users see all around the world. The users will not see how to edit the page, no, but you be given as what you see. Okay, can you see all of this? All right. And say we come all the way down here, and we just want to add a new component. Maybe the business, they just need like maybe a snippet. They just need a paragraph to be down there. This label here says drag components here. Of course, you can drag components here. If you go to the left hand side here, you may be able to like drag a component. Maybe you need an image, you need say a link button, you want to like maybe add a product, you just drag it there. Or you just go the way I want to go now, because I just need to add a paragraph. You can just do this, select that, you know, left click, and then you do your insert components. What I need is a paragraph. I don't know, again, different businesses call it whatever they like. Maybe a text. Okay, yeah, let's call it text. Now you see that component has been added. So now you double click on that, you just add anything. I like to eat jollof. Let's say we're adding this content to the page. After adding the content, again, during our training, we'll go through each and every property that you see here, but we don't have that time today. So you click on that, just look at that, look at what you have here. Okay, you have the content here. But yeah, so the moment you've published, what is it that the users are going to see on the front end? Look at that. So this becomes what the users will see all around the world right away. So that job requires attention to details. You don't want to add what has not been instructed of you to add to the page, okay, for compliance reasons, for legal reasons, and so on. So you have to pay attention to details. So if you are someone who is thinking of becoming like a web developer, this is a very good role for you to start. So if you want to become like a QA tester, for example, this is a very good point for you to start from. Okay, if you want to become like maybe some cloud engineer, you're going to be dealing with like servers and containers and like spinning up different websites in future. All of this, there is no role at all in the tech which at one point or the other does not require the knowledge of content management system. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to stop here, and if you have questions, just hit me up, or you click, yeah, just fire your question. Keep looking forward to watching other taster videos that will be coming from my friends, and in few days time. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and God bless.